The Insta360 Ace Pro is the newest action camera from the company that brought us the Insta360 X3 and Go 3 that I recently reviewed on my channel. But this camera promises to provide the highest quality image possible in a variety of situations, straight out of the camera. So in this video, I'll walk you through the features and the specifications of the camera, and there are a lot of features to talk about. And then I'll show you some test footage that I shot over the past couple of weeks, including a comparison to footage from the GoPro Hero 12. And thanks to Insta360 for sponsoring this video and for providing me with the camera. And of course, if you do decide to purchase the camera or you just want to learn more, I would appreciate it if you used my affiliate link, which I'll include below. So let's start with an overview of the form factor and the camera's specifications. The Ace Pro weighs 180 grams, including a battery and memory card, which is just a little more than the 152 grams for the GoPro Hero 12. It's also a little bit larger, but this is mostly due to the fact that the lens is larger to accommodate the larger sensor, which I'll talk about in a minute. The biggest difference in form factor, though, is the flip-up screen, which allows you to see a high-quality preview when vlogging or taking selfies. It's otherwise quite familiar in terms of the button and battery door compared to what I've been used to on the GoPro. Now the lens and the sensor are where things start to get really interesting. The optics were engineered in partnership with Leica to bring state-of-the-art imaging to the Ace Pro. It features a 1/1.3 inch sensor, much bigger than the GoPro Hero 12's 1/1.9 inch sensor. And the bigger the sensor is, the more light that a camera can capture, providing increased dynamic range and more accurate colors. This is especially important when filming in low light. So this is a test of the new Insta360 Ace Pro. A lot of background noise, there's creeks around, a bit of wind. The Ace Pro can record video up to 120 frames per second at 4K resolution, along with 48 megapixel photos. 4K is just below the maximum resolution of 5.3K that the GoPro offers, which is really more for professionals who might want to further zoom and crop in post, since it's difficult to view and to use anything larger than 4K. But Insta360 has hinted that they have more ambitious goals in terms of image quality and resolution for the production version of this camera. So it's a shame that I couldn't see this before the launch, but maybe by the time that this video goes live, there will be some new developments here. Now there are a number of really smart features that make this camera quite powerful and versatile, while still being easy to use. Clarity Zoom is a feature that allows you to quickly zoom in 2 times while maintaining the quality. I suspect that the sensor is actually oversampling, which means there's extra resolution to take advantage of, along with some AI which prevents quality loss. The GoPro, on the other hand, only allows for 1.6 times zoom, so any further would have to be done in post. I mentioned the flip-up screen, and the camera has facial recognition turned on by default, which will automatically adjust the exposure based on the lighting of your face when filming in selfie mode. In addition to voice control, it's got gesture control for both photo and video, which is great for noisy environments, including in heavy wind. There are a few little features related to how it records that I've found quite useful. First of all, you can take a photo while you're filming. I often struggle when coming across wildlife or some other fleeting scene like a sunset in whether to shoot video or to take a photo. And this way you can actually do both at the same time. You can also pause recording, and this way when you resume, it will keep it as a single clip, which can make it a lot easier to manage when you're editing. And you can also cancel recording in order to save space on your memory card if you change your mind and decide that you don't want to keep the clip that you're shooting. There's also a pre-recording mode, which basically sets the camera to always be buffering. So when this is enabled and you hit record, it'll save the previous 15 to 30 seconds before you even started recording. This could be super useful for dash cams in case you get in a fender bender and things like that. It's got a time lapse, time shift, and star lapse feature, along with what's called the AI Highlights Assistant built right into the camera, which could be really useful for anyone who isn't a professional editor like myself. When enabled, the camera will automatically flag your clips as you record them to pick what it thinks are the best parts. The software will then automatically trim the shots and will create a clip highlight reel for you to review, all within the camera. Once you confirm the choices it's made, it can automatically trim the clips to save space on the card. And you can also do this in the app afterwards though, where you can have a little more control, but with all the same AI assistance. And the app will now download your clips in the background, so you don't need to sit with it open. You can go about doing other things, and it'll notify you once it's finished transferring your footage to your phone, which is unique compared to other cameras. When it comes to actually using the camera in the field, it's of course designed for action sports with Insta360's flow state stabilization built right in. The camera will enable what it calls active HDR mode when filming in frame rates up to 30 frames per second. HDR provides better dynamic range in the shadows and the highlights of an image, along with more vibrant footage, and it usually does this by capturing multiple exposures of the same image at different levels and then combining them. HDR is available on the GoPro as well, and here's a comparison to the GoPro Hero 12 with both cameras filming in their respective HDR modes. To me, they look pretty similar in normal daylight conditions and with minimal movement, although I think the Ace Pro handles the highlights a little bit better. You'll also notice the Insta360's field of view is much wider when set to de-warp mode, which is similar to linear view on the GoPro, the setting that I usually use to avoid wide-angle distortion. Here's a comparison of the two cameras in a lower light situation, both in HDR mode. The GoPro works great in daylight, but it's notoriously bad, like most action cameras, in low light because of its smaller sensor. The camera needs to compensate by lowering the shutter speed to let in more light, but the stabilization really depends on a high shutter speed to work effectively. You'll notice that I rarely shoot at night with the GoPro in my films, and when I do, it's usually doing static shots with minimal camera movement. The difference is even more noticeable as the scene gets darker and when comparing the GoPro in normal video mode to the Ace Pro in what's called pure video mode. And this is where the Ace Pro really shines in dark environments thanks to the dedicated AI chip, along with that larger sensor. It uses AI to denoise each frame while filming in real time when in pure video mode with minimal ghosting artifacts. But it's not just the stabilization that's obviously way better, but also the color rendition and lack of noise in the shadows. As an action camera, the Ace Pro is designed to be rugged and waterproof and is compatible with a series of mounts and optional accessories. One of the coolest is this GPS remote, which can be mounted to your bike's handlebars or worn on your wrist for a preview of the image when the camera is mounted on your helmet or elsewhere. It's got USB-C fast charging, and for the vloggers out there, using the optional cold shoe adapter, you can attach a light and a mic adapter in order to use an external microphone. The mounts are magnetic and also click into place, which makes them much quicker to move your camera from one setup to the next instead of having to unscrew it like on the GoPro. So let's talk about who this camera is for. I think the Ace Pro would be great for runners or for anyone else who wants an action camera with the highest quality possible while still being really simple and intuitive to operate. But more experienced filmmakers may be disappointed with the lack of 10-bit S-Log in favor of that HDR recording, which is on by default at 30 frames per second and lower. But for the majority of people who aren't doing extensive color grading in post, HDR is much more practical and will result in a much better image. And for professionals like myself, the camera's low light capabilities really are unmatched for an action camera. I'll likely reach for this camera when I want to turn around and edit in a hurry, or maybe just for social media, without worrying about color grading. But I think I'll also rely on this for all of my low light filming needs. For example, when filming at night during a race, where other action cameras are pretty much useless. So to learn more and to shop for the camera, check out the link below. And I'd be curious to hear if this camera is something that you're considering and how important this kind of low light performance is to you. So tell me in the comments below.